Welcome to Naomi's episode that nobody asked for, but here I am anyways. Shout out to everybody that messaged me and reached out to me, and a lot of you reach out asking how my parents took the news when they found out I was pregnant. So here I am with another episode. So bear with me. All right, let's try to get this short. I remember I was very young, and honestly, I was scared. When I found out I was pregnant, my mom wasn't happy at first. Not because she didn't love me, but because she wanted the very best for my life. I remember I told the father of my child, Sioneta Valufifita. He was from Kanokopolu, Uiha, and living in Hofo at the time. I want to speak about him respectfully. He has passed on and had his own family. I remember telling him, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I don't want to go home, because, I'm pregnant. And so for a while, I stayed with him. Wherever he went, I was right there beside him. But then later I found out that my brothers were everywhere looking for me in Tonga. So I ended up hiding at my uncle's home. They're like Grandpa Sione and Grandma Mehi Wainuku. They were Faifekau and Kanokopolu at the time, and they are close family of my dad. They're like the boss family of my dad. And rest in love. Out of the blue, my brother showed up at the house and told me to get in the car. So, of course, I get in the car. When I walked back into my parents' home and saw my mom, she was yelling, crying, cussing, heartbroken, and I understood why. I was her everything. I was my parents' princess. I was spoiled with love, protection, and sacrifice. And anyone who knows my parents knows, I don't even need to explain this. My dad worked his whole life traveling the ocean just to give us everything, and especially me. At the time, my dad was stationed in Europe, and when I told my mom, man, I remember we cried together. And I remember I kept apologizing. Like, I'm sorry, Mom, I apologized. How many times over and over and over. And Sonia later came and apologized too. And to my brothers, spoke with him and things were handled respectfully. I know this broke my mom's heart, not because she failed me, but because she didn't have the upbringing or marriage she dreamed of. And she wanted better for me. But I want to be clear about this. This was my choice. People might look at my mom and blame her, but it was never her. She did everything right. She taught me, she counseled me, she worked, she provided. I was clean, always clean. I was cared for and always had the best. I remember 2 months later, my dad came home. And if you know my dad, he can look intimidating. He's respected, disciplined, and carries himself with authority. I was terrified. I remember calling all my aunties and church members of the Sestonga Eki to fill my house because I was so scared to face him alone. But when my dad arrived, we celebrated like we always do. He came home with luggage and like always he said, that one is for you, Omi. Inside were all school stuff, shoes, clothes, you name it, everything he knew I loved. Man, I just paused and I cried because I felt so guilty. That night at dinner, my dad kept looking at me, and I finally said, Dad, I am so sorry. You're the best father. You did everything for me, and this was my choice. Then I told him, I'm pregnant. I remember my dad stood up. He ripped open his duty-free bottle and drank it. He cried. He said, Homie, I froze in the ocean for you, and everything I do is for you, and I will never forget that night. He said he wanted to leave. I ran after him. My aunties held him. Others held me. Others held me back. That was how my parents took the news. And even though the pain, they still loved me. They still gave. They still showed up. And today, I still have my parents with me. And I promised myself that I will never hurt them again. Now it's my turn to take care of them. And I tell my mom, stay home. Don't go to work. I got you. They are my everything. Yes, they're getting older, and sometimes it's hard, but I choose patience. I choose love. And I live by this commandment: honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long. And I do. I mean, years later, I apologized to them again. We cried together. We talked openly, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful I had my parents that I can talk to about anything. And this is my story. Um, I hope you have a good day because I know I am. And thank you for listening. Bye.